Hello, good morning, Twitch and or YouTube. I'm very sleepy right now, so this is the slightly delayed, low energy, probably won't stream for very long equivalent. What's going on, y'all? What is happening in this world? Whew. And Josh. All right, well, thanks for joining, y'all. To recap, hello, I'm Josh Goldberg. I'm a full-time independent open source streamer working in the TypeScript ecosystem. I primarily work on TypeScript ESLint, the tooling that lets you run tools like JavaScript and ESLint and Prettier on JavaScript. Smart. I also wrote a book, Learning TypeScript. You can find it on the internet. I also have Halloween lights. Keep forgetting to plug those in before things. All right. So today, as always, I'm going to post everything on media things on Twitter. If you used to call it X, that's stupid. So I got this old tslint-to-eslint-config project. It converts your tslint configuration to the closest possible eslint configuration. Back in the day, long ago. Oh no, I'm showing off the wrong monitor. God dang it. I thought I was sharing this screen. That's annoying. I'm gonna have to. Is this? Can you see this? Chrissy, hello. Good morning. Wow, my OBS setup. I don't know what's going wrong with it today. Hang on a second. Display. It's on the wrong display. That's so weird. I've seen this bug before where you're on the right monitor or display or whatever, but then you switch OBS to something else in back and then it fixes it. Where previously it was showing off the wrong window. Hey Emma, how are y'all doing? That's so weird. Anyway, glad to get this out of the way in the beginning of the stream. Yeah, it was like a cached output from the last one or something. I don't know. Anyway, so tslint is this very old equivalent to eslint that's been deprecated for years. The website doesn't even have a properly formatted warning. So y'all, no one should be using tslint anymore. People still sometimes use the word tslint to refer to TypeScript's linting, which is incorrect, but what are you going to do? It's technically off, but it doesn't really matter as long as people know not to use the old tslint tool. I wrote a nice little converter, tslint to eslint config, that takes in a tslint file and creates the output closest equivalent eslint config file. npx tslint to eslint config. All right, so got a few notifications. Oh my god, 18 pull requests. Guarantee you almost all of these are Dependabots. And I got a few pull requests or issues on it recently, so I'll take a look. PR to add this warning to what? Which warning? Sorry, timing's a little off. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just gonna, while you're typing out an answer, I'm gonna start off with this in the chat. I'll put it on the media things. What I'm gonna take a look at. First off, reviewing. Oh, the old tslint. The old tslint does have a warning. It's the linter is the repo's archived. The website has a warning. All is well. Good call though. +1. We already did the thing. Yay. Allow standalone declarations by default. ... default. You can tell when someone modified the PR title but forgot to edit the body from an overflow. Okay, so we got this very old issue posting in the chat. So currently, if you have an old tslint config with this community rule as an output, so in tslint there was a prefer arrow functions rule, or only arrow functions. That's an old tslint rule. So if you had this enabled in your tslint config, it would yell at you if you used a new like function, not an arrow function, like a function declaration, one of these things, and it would yell at you to do this instead. And that's in a ESLint community rule set prefer arrow, so it should output in your ESLint config. Now, there is a incorrect behavior in the tslint converter per this issue, where by default tslint actually does allow top level named functions, like or at least they're saying it. Let's see, where is it? Oh yeah, it would now it would allow something like this, which is interesting because the rule docs say my function is not allowed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a terminal, mkdir tslint temp. I already have that. So I'm just going to try out what the issue is going for, just to make sure it's right. I can see in my files here that last time I touched this stuff was indeed for some sort of tslint shenanigan. So just removing all my rule settings, and let's just go with only arrow functions true. And then let's get the same complaint here. npx tslint. Yes. tslint index.ts. What happens? Non-arrow functions are forbidden. Okay. So, indeed, just following up, I tried out npx tslint index.ts with JSON index.ts. Just making sure I don't need these comments here and they take up space, so. See what happens. Yep. And it did complain by default. All right, does the rule have any options? But it does have allow declarations and allow named functions. Okay, so that's the stuff that we should make sure that the rule converter in tslint-to-eslint-config does capture. So let's go to main. Last touched in June. I don't even remember touching this package in June. What's it on? npm. All right. Only arrow functions. All right. So right now the way all these converters work, it's actually fairly straightforward. It's a function. Elsewhere in the code, we map from what the original rules are to these functions, but it takes in the tslint rule and its rule arguments and outputs an object containing rules and plugins. So if we have notices, any complaints like ESLint does not support this thing, then those are included. So it looks like JSON C for the formatting. There we go. That's the nice little side-by-side split. Allow standalone declarations by default. So it says allow standalone declarations true by default. So now I'm wondering if I was wrong in the issue to mark this as accepting, because the discussion is saying something differently from what I found. So they linked to allow named functions option, which folks are saying in the ESLint plugin prefer arrow repo, they'd like a named functions option, which has been open since 2020. And there's a PR. Oops. Allow named functions for Mark, one of my old favorites. And it's just been waiting. So that's unfortunate. Is this repo actively maintained still? Last touch, 2021, maybe not. So I'm gonna file a note. Maybe I can reach out to Tristan J to see if they want any help with this. I'll file that as a to-do for later. Okay. Well, anyway, Circle CI. What? My God, I forgot this thing. I have this month I'm planning on moving everything over to GitHub Actions. I can't believe I still have an active repo on Circle CI. That's wild. Daniel, hello. Thanks for joining. First time. How's it going? And then I met in, was Athens the first time we met, I want to say? That was a good time. Yeah, so it's pinned in the chat still. I'm just going through. So it looks like there's an allow standalone declarations option. Awesome. Oh, wait, let me plug your book. Right here at the ready. Got this for winning a JS pub quiz at a meetup. State management with React Query. It's good. It's good. I read some of it, a bunch of it. Thanks again. It's also first in my bookshelf because I go by alphabetical order. And by last name. And yours is Afonso. Yep. Right there. Ugh. I need to like rearrange or something. I'm like running out of space, which is a little annoying. All right, so only arrow functions. The ESLint rule in the community plugin looks like it has an allow standalone declarations option. So if I do bx tslint-to-eslint-config, then open the result, wrong one, in this repo, tslint-to-eslint-config, then open the resultant ESLint file, remove all those silly comments. Yeah. Remove the comments, get them out of the way. And look, okay, so we do get prefer arrow functions error. There it is. So if I add in the two options, allow declarations and allow named functions, then we get back, we get two complaints in the log saying it doesn't support standalone function declarations. Okay, but that's actually not true because they allowed standalone function declarations. So it looks like I poked through the issue. What a throwback. And as you linked, thanks for the info. Looks to me like should only be output if allow declarations is in the original rule, and if it is output, and we can get rid of the notice. Because yeah, now that the rule has the option, we don't really need the, does not support. Notice. And what is this ESLint complaint in Circle CI? My God, I can't remember the last time I opened Circle CI. Ridiculous. Oop, and it's unrelated to this. I can tell it's unrelated because it's a whole bunch of files from a single rule, which means tslint to eslint configs eslint setup. Like the type could be eslint package version must have been bumped without fixing these. Whoops. That'll be fixed when I migrate to this, all this to my standard tooling. Okay. Sorry for marking the issue as accepted without resolving the discussion. Looks like there's a slightly better. Looks like the option is opt-in. But thanks for getting started. Request changes. Was the module.exports function file supposed to be .cjs instead? Nah, it doesn't really matter. You're talking about the stuff I'm doing right now it really, none of this stuff that I'm poking at, really, the format of the things matters. But yeah, which file in particular were you looking at? Also, hi, good to see you, Lord. Okay, so notice that ESLint stagged on some unrelated code in CI, but not locally. Yep. That's because, as I said, the package must have been updated with build not failing. PMPMI and npm CI. Yeah, this repo isn't converted to template TypeScript node package. Yeah, I'm hoping to finish up all the templating I wanted in that package this month, then migrate all my repos over. It feels a little arcane to use CGS mostly now anyway. Yeah, I would agree. But, you know, some repos are stuck. All right, so they fixed all the sort complaints on this one, so I'll just try it out locally and see how it feels. GHPR check out this thing, pip pull RF node modules, npm CI, clear, npm run lint. See how that goes. Oh, and on this other one, I gotta add the waiting for author. Cool. Arcane. npm, what are the scripts of this? npm run ESLint. Okay, yep. Thanks for the fix. Boop. Thank you, Edwin. Oh, but I forgot to mention this, or mention hyperupcall. Oops. Not on Twitter, but on Mastodon. Oh yeah, let me mention Jane FPR that fixed some introduced failures into that were blocking CI. Reduce. Hyperupcall. Oh god, how do I link to someone? Oh, freaking. This is why I really dislike Mastodon. They really made this more difficult than it should be. Hyperupcall. There it is. How do I? That is Elk, yeah. Yeah, I switched over. I'm logged into the TypeScript ESLint account on fossadon.org, and then on my personal one, this one, because I like Elk more. It's really nice. Thanks, as always. Yeah. Oop. All right. That's good stuff. Do not show errors from reading directories. Oh boy. So moving on to this one. Let's pin that. Next up, another PR, same author, on fixing directory reads. And these are all from hyperupcall. What? Ugh! I tried typing comment, it removed it. What an MVP. Directory reads. Okay. So if your ts config, I don't have a ts config here. contains something like include cool, and I make dir cool clear then npx tslint to eslint-config, we get a nice little, oh, I didn't get a complaint. When using comments, but not one was found on disk. So I have to touch cool index.ts to make a file there. And yep, so that's an issue. I'm just, HyperUpCall's working on an older repo. I don't expect like strict adherence to must have bug report and corresponding PR. But I will file it just for my own housekeeping sake. So let's see. Comments, what is it? Comments throws EASDIR when a directory specified in tsconfig include version. What version am I on? All these things. We're gonna have to minimize all my other crap. I always forget to do this before the stream. Alright. Package JSON. Hey. ESLint version doesn't matter. tslint-to-eslint-config's version is 2.14.0. And the node version also doesn't matter, but let's say v20. Like 20 doesn't. Plain text. Shouldn't crash. So I'm just gonna make the files here. Make dir cool, touch cool index.ts. As reported by HyperUpCall in 1717. Labels. Oh God, what area is this? I don't even remember what labels I have. Okay, so area, common conversions, yeah. Area, bug is the type, and then status is accepting PRs. Yay. Filed that, and I'll just link it in the issue. Again, this is like an old, relatively inactive repo. I'm not expecting Edwin to have posted this stuff. HyperUpCall. All right, but let's look at the changes. Whew. GHPR checkout 1717. What was done to fix? So in file system, you might get a, ooh, interesting. Instead of, so the way, I forgot about this. I did so much fun little abstraction stuff in this repo. The way this repo's file system stuff is done is that each function, each function in the repo receives its dependencies. It's like a very raw form of dependency injection. And the file system has 3 APIs that you can receive. File exists, read file, wrap file, and this is what's called an adapter. Later on in tests, you get a mock version of this, and real code, you get a real version of all these functions that just call to like node.fs. So here, previously, none of these throw errors. It's like Go style programming where you just return the error instead of throwing it, which I prefer. So here, instead of the general error, it's more specifically the node error, because that is actually what the node.fs APIs, file system APIs do. So that's a nice change. On in general, I like this change. +1. All right, so convert file comments, that's the test file. Okay, so in just convert file comments, if file content is an error, then we return undefined. Okay. Vox Pelly, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. Call me mod. Oh no, am I getting raided or something? Welcome, you two. Thanks for hanging out. What's going on? I'm just looking at a PR. It's pinned in the comments to fix up a crash in the old tslint-to-eslint-config converter. So this looks reasonable to me. They're saying in the function that converts file comments from tslint comments to eslint comments, when you try to read the file in the file system, if the file content read is an error, we return undefined if it's actually trying to read as a directory. The problem with this, though, one issue is what if it's a directory that has files in it? Should we be working recursively on all that? Like, how does that work? Who calls convert file comments? Let's convert. So convert comments is on each file storing equivalents in a cache. A tic-tac-toe game. Oh no, in what language? TypeScript? 48 errors. So the convert comments function takes in, C#. That's a great language. So running convert comments on with comments. Yeah, yarn build dash watch. I'm gonna try running this locally. Yarn compile watch. Alright, and let's see what happens here. So node repos tslint-to-eslint. Oh, in Unity, was it like a game thing? Bin in, what is bin? PMI tslint-d. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, everyone always gets a whole bunch of errors and complaints on their first try of anything, so that sounds fun. Alright. tslint command was not found. Oh. How am I going to get this to work? Can I... The tslint config... There we go. Alright, so running convert comments with comments true. That's great. So the PR doesn't crash. But console.log comment file names. Let's see. Comment file names includes cool index ts cool. Okay, so this is great. So what's happening is collect file names, the thing that collects the list of files that you want to fix in the tool, is collecting a whole bunch of stuff, not all of which are files. So it's collecting both the cool directory and the cool index ts. Well, I have faith in you, call me mod. Sometimes what I do is I just start from scratch, which is really annoying and takes time, but it's a good way to learn this stuff, really. Alright, running collect file names with, so it's file path globs. And what are we running with? So we run it with file path globs is true. So we're unique from sources, type of configuration. What do you mean by on Godot? Try it with Unity. All right, so this is interesting. So somehow it's gotten that the TypeScript configuration has these files from this include. So the files must be getting added automatically by like the plumbing that creates the TypeScript configuration. Let's see. From the TypeScript config, yeah, there's, I'm not going to show it here, but tslint-to-eslint-config like reads in TypeScript stuff. So I actually think I disagree with how this PR. Hellion, hello. Actually, I'm good. I'm actually reviewing PRs on a very old repo. I guess not very old, somewhat old, a couple years old repo, tslint-to-eslint-config. So the way that tslint-to-eslint-config works is that if you pass in dash dash comments, it'll convert your old tslint comments to eslint. The problem is this PR has an approach I'm not super into. Actually, structure. Actually, think the approach here isn't what I prefer. Convert comment file names is taking in a TypeScript configuration that looks like. Oh yeah, Daniel Elliott, have you two met? Both like European-based conference people who I like. So that's got to count for something cool. JSON format. There we go. Note that the original TS config that made that is just include pool. Wait, hang on, that's not right. Yes. But with an output, what was it called? Comment file names. Like this, which is actually JS. I think the right approach to fix this earlier in the system would be to have it's collect comment file names is the name of it, not convert. Collect file names, filter out directories from its output, or maybe just not use the include at all, since files has the full list of files. What do you think? So this is kind of like a standard thing that I do where if I disagree or tentatively I'm not sure I agree with the approach in a PR, I'll say something like, this works well, yay, thanks. But I think I'd rather have the issue fixed closer to its source. What do you think? And I'll say also, and these are both true statements, something like, I'm not against merging as is, especially since this repo is old and relatively inactive. Just check. As if you think this is a better approach. I think what's currently in the PR, especially since, so and I'll still request changes, but with like a nice note. Because the way I see it, this person took time out of their day to fix this bug in a thing that they probably don't even need. I think I've seen a bunch from Hyperrock Call, which is just them being a great human and contributing for fun and niceness. So definitely want to stay positive and definitely want to be like, look, this does work, but I might like it better the other way. All right, moving on. Let's go to another issue. Last issue in PR pair in this repo. And yeah, just doing some introductions. People in the chat who've been here for a while and talk a lot, that almost came out negatively, and who have discussed things with other folks and myself before. Lerner, Chrissy, Elian, Daniel now. Y'all welcome. Emma, Dawson. Y'all are all cool people. Also shout out to the new folks, Daniel, Vox Pelly, and Kalimod. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate y'all. All right, so in this issue, let's see what happened. Running with dash comments modifier, remove the tslint comments in some 100+ files. Yeah, it was traversing known modules as well, which isn't an include. I changed include to includes, and now the config was respected, so that's unfortunate. So I asked for the original tslint and such. Hypercall yesterday said they Okay, so the I think I just made a bug in the repo that hasn't been called out yet. Um, so the documentation complaint is that the repo's saying exclude and include, or this repo says exclude and includes, but actually tsconfig is exclude and include. Yep, that does fix it. So thank you, hyperrock call. This is correct, and it actually does address and fix the issue. Thanks, Leonard. +1, agreed. I think we want to make the world a better place, or at least keep it nice. And there's no reason not to be positive, especially when everyone is doing things that are just contributing, you know? So this looks good. Let me just continue posting, merging one last PR from hyperrock call, a docs fix. All right. And we can ignore the ESLint failures because they were fixed elsewhere. Keep it positive, keep it clean. Hell yeah. All right, so now the only ones waiting are the two that are status waiting for author. I'm not going to bother bumping all these dependencies because I'm going to eventually move this package to my standard templating. And I believe I don't need to do a new release because the only merged ones were like internal, docs and chore. Great. Exactly, yeah. All right, let's go to my notifications. What else should I be doing? Sometimes I pull in things to do from the audience. Today, no, because my God, I have so many notifications. Love to see it. All right. So, okay. So here's a fun one. Dedent. It's an old package. I didn't make it dedent. The original author, nice individual named Desmond Brandt, did a long time ago, and now doesn't have the time or focus or energy, not sure what, I think time to maintain it, which is totally reasonable. This happens all the time in open source. Who are we to demand that people spend the rest of their lives maintaining some rando package they may or may not use anymore? But it has like millions, over 15 million downloads a week. When I started helping out, like over 17, now it's up to almost 19, so that's nice. The funny thing is, TC39, the committee that adds things to JavaScript, is actually gonna make like a built-in dedent, maybe. Unclear. There's a proposal to do it. So this package hopefully will eventually no longer be necessary, just like a legacy thing, almost a polyfill. So I'm just helping out with the package. And there are a couple issues on it. The first one is chore removed files related to Flow, because I converted the package from Flow to TypeScript, because I'm a big TypeScript fan, and looks like I missed some files. So switching context over to a couple issues in dedent. An old popular package I'm helping maintain now. First up, and did this person put Twitter on their bio? Yes, thank you, Yim. First up, handy little cleanup of some files I missed from Flow to TypeScript converting. Thanks, Yim. Boop. Just gonna do a link card preview. I guess not blue screen, that's fine. Thanks. You know, I think the broom is a little better. Yeah, none of these files are actually necessary here because I converted the repo to TypeScript. Yay! And then I think I also, GRath has been posting a bunch recently. Realized that string-dedent is apparently the polyfill. Not sure that it is. So let's just post this here. in your project, not sure if you want ensure thing definition, assert to be, or is foo. Yeah, I wonder if the community will ever standardize on this. I don't know that we have. I think depends on the call signature, like what it returns. I generally do is if it returns a boolean or is a type predicate. Assert if it throws an error, if not, like a test style assert, and then ensure if it modifies the original or returns an object with default properties added in. So that's just my preference. But yeah, so there is a proposal string in dedent. I don't see a polyfill listed anywhere on this page. Can I paste that in the chat? Let's go here. Let's see. Issues. Polyfill. I don't know that they typically add a polyfill at what stage is this proposal? It's stage 2. Implementation types expected, polyfill / demos. Okay, so this is at a stage where one might want a polyfill. Oh, Ron Buckton from the TypeScript team. Oh, Josh Sino, one of the TypeScript PSN people. Okay, so wait, where is the polyfill? What is this? Problem with the help of libraries. Dedent. Oh, look at me. Play around with a REPL implementation. Unpackage string-dedent. Okay, so it looks like string-dedent is the main polyfill. In other languages, Q&A, why not use a library, dependency, supporting blah, blah, blah. Okay, so does the string-dedent? Nowhere is the polyfill mentioned on the docs. So I think this is a docs issue for the proposal. Docs explicitly mention string dedent as the current polyfill. Coming over from graph mentioned that let's just copy and paste this. I like how GitHub now, when you copy and paste markdown with fancy things like links, it includes them, but it doesn't always include everything. Like this one didn't include the templating. Does the standardized behavior break what dedent currently does? Depends on what you mean by break, but yeah, basically. Every string dedent package in the wild today works slightly differently, which is really annoying and what you would expect when there are a bunch of different implementations. So one of the reasons why we have now a proposal is to make a standard known behavior that you can assume at least the built-in browser version will, or runtime environments such as Node browser will go with, is used in the REPL, but not mentioned. I don't see it mentioned anywhere else in the proposal. It or the word polyfill mentioned anywhere else in the proposal. String dedent. I don't see it's that package. I want to be very clear and not ambiguous on what I mean by it or that. Could string dedent be mentioned in the README as the current polyfill for the package? It's unclear. Right now it's unclear what folks would want to be using for the current proposal's behavior. Okay, so filed this issue. By the way, it sometimes goes to my head a little like, oh my god, I just filed an issue on the committee that makes JavaScript, or like whatever, builds on JavaScript. That's so weird and cool to me that in open source we can just talk to people who do things, like really do things. Wild to me. Did I say I'm... There it is. Sometimes Twitter loses the thread very confusing. I thought I said that I was switching switching context over. Did I put it in the wrong place? Oh, I did. Ah, I put in the wrong one. Oh, did you? Yanamari. Sorry, Daniel. I messed up the thread. I hate Twitter. Brr. And flow, is that in my dedent? Is that my history? Yes. Now people, is going to get 2 notifications. Sorry. Fun and overwhelming. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't possibly do anything. People who know things are going to see what I do, but then my ego carries me away. So I think I get desensitized over time. Vox Pelli, yeah, +1 in general. So, yeah, that's a concern that we have all these little differences in all these little packages. Just quoting this, will come out. One issue from me is, one issue is on the will come out. We've had the behavior has been most of dedent's behavior has been the same for years now. So actually really 2 issues will come out. Most of the TC39 proposal is still only stage 2. So I think we can consider this issue resolved by what I pinned to the repo, project status 36 in 2 ways. All those and the issues you went in 2 ways. All those issues will be resolved by adding an option, so folks can opt in or out of the behavior. Per 36, I'm trying not to significantly break existing legacy users, since each of them will likely have to fix up some small breakages if and when they. Yeah, each of them will likely have to fix up some small breakages if and when they migrate to the TC39 proposal once it's after ratification. So other than fixing all those issues with an option, I don't know that there's much to do here. Until the proposal is ratified. Then we can release a major version with all options set to the proposal's behavior. Ratified stage 4. Thoughts? It's an interesting proposal. I like this, considering string.dedent. So waiting for author. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, at that point, if you're going for strict compliance, I'd say just, oh, Ashley, thanks. Edit. Oh, and if someone wants to literally fill in string.dedent, I'd say they should just use the polyfill from the proposal. I wouldn't want to add that to this library. It'd be a pretty big jump in scope to cover behavior already, present in the polyfill. Yeah, so we're not going to turn dedent into a polyfill. There's an actual package for that. But we can make dedent easier to migrate off of. Cool beans. I'm letting these ones sit for a little bit so folks can discuss them. So I don't think there's anything else here that I need to do. Thanks. There's always one little note that I forget to add in there. All right. Oh my God. What else do I need to do? Boop, boop, boop. Oh, let's work on Remix. I was working on Astro recently, and I'm gonna switch over. All right. So, switching context yet again. Let's switch over to Remix. All right. Remix. Remix. What is Alien? Let me ask you a question, and you and everyone else actually. What is Remix? And I'm gonna, while folks are typing, I'm gonna attempt to answer the Astro question. Astro is a framework and tool that allows you to write static sites that are heavily optimized for performance. It allows you to pull in very nice plugins such as content collections and assets that make those static sites much more easy to use and seamless to build in a type-safe way, and also allows islands on your pages where you can add in interactivity selectively using whatever supported framework you want, including popular ones such as React and Solid and Vue. Did I do well? Did I do good? All-in-one web framework designed for speed, pulling content from anywhere and deploy everywhere, all powered by favorite UI components and libraries. Yay! Oh, what an ego boost for me. Thank you. For reference, Alien, like, Alien, is it accurate to say you work with or on? Oop, that's a misspelling. I apologize. Astro, like, how do I phrase you? Engineer of vBridge, maintainer at Astro. Want to be respectful of what you actually do now and in the future. Okay, so anyway, Remix, currently Astro maintainer. Ooh, very nice. All right, so Remix is another framework in this space, along with Astro, Next.js. Remix is closer to the Next.js family, as in family that people associate with Next.js, of frameworks, where it's a lot more dynamic focused. It optimizes for sending data to and from the server. It's really nice. Remix, Next.js, Astro, they're all great. There is a Create Remix app or some such. I forget what it's called. Discussions, author, Joshua. Anyway, a lot of these frameworks have like getting started things. Ooh, here we go. So I posted one. I posted two. One is that the default ESLint config with TypeScript should include TypeScript recommended and requiring type checking. Is this closed? Yes. So Remix projects, when you create them, npx create Remix, their ESLint configs previously did not include the recommended TypeScript rules from TypeScript ESLint. So that's unfortunate. And then I talked a bit with Michael DuBois and Matt Brophy, aka Brofdog, who I actually met in person in Philly. They live in Delaware, but they're Philly at heart. I'm in Philly. And yeah, sent a PR, merged from TypeScript ESLint recommended, and it's in Remix 1.18.0. Yay. I will also note that there was a separate discussion on our stylistic preset. But then when I sent a PR to resolve it, the Remix folks took the look and said, yeah, this isn't something we want to hoist on people. They don't want to recommend stylistic things, which is actually a big part of why we separated out recommended and stylistic as two separate types of configs in TypeScript ESLint v6. By the way, just surfacing from Remix isn't going to include this. See. This comment. Close with comment. Great. So now my next step is add in recommended type checked. By the way, learner, I do want to address your point because I think it's very salient. Yeah, we're hitting one of those points in web dev where we've hit some nice standard stylistic decisions for a lot of websites, and now everyone seems to kind of look the same. Like Vercel.com. I will say that it's not that everyone looks the same. It's just we've hit a lot of like really standard UI kind of treatments, like header on top, big snazzy H1. Perhaps you have like gradients and color in there, and I'm guilty of this also. Like if you look at this Tide Lift Me Up site that I designed with Catherine Nance, Grayson Nance, and then my website, like there's a lot of common UI treatment. So I think what's going to happen is I think people are gonna, what is 37 signals? People are eventually gonna get bored of this, and then, ooh, oh my god, Basecamp, these freaking people. Yeah, I think we're gonna start diverging soon. The web tends to do this, cycles of everyone uses a lot of some of the same things, people diverge again. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it's funny. I like it. But yeah, so in TypeScript ESLint v6, just to recap, we have two common tracks of configs that people use. They're the type-checked ones and the not type-checked. Within not type-checked, you get recommended, strict, and stylistic. Within type-checked, you get those dash type-checked. Type-checking makes them more powerful, but it's a little harder to configure, takes more performance. It is a pendulum, yes. And actually, Swix had a really nice blog post on this stuff. Yes, or maybe it was just a tweet. Might have been a. Oh yeah, that's right. Keeps getting brought up again. That's why I was reminded of this. Hassan from Radiogram Conf talking about it. Yep. Lol. Anyway, so yeah, remix is on just recommended, not recommended type checked. So let's get them on recommended. Type checked. Yeah. They're on recommended, they're not on type checked. So, oh my god, what is their default branch? Is it dev? It's at main. It's on main, but PRs are against dev, so I'm gonna pull upstream dev. What are they using? Yarn. Releases yarn.cg. Okay, so we're on yarn 1. Love it. Let me just check their package JSON for like a package manager. Nope. Okay. So TypeScript.js, conveniently in my recent, these all follow the Basecamp homepage redesign from 2010. That's the old one. Funny. Yeah, I think there are a lot of websites that have been moving towards this type of style for a while. So, TypeScript, ESLint-recommended. Where is this referenced? Okay, so it's in the ESLint config, and it's saying for every TS or TSX file, you want to use recommended. Now we're going to do type checked. So that's for the remix ESLint config. Cool. And that's it. In their remix ESLint config rules, what is this? Rules / TypeScript. So that's for the TypeScript rules. All right, so the way theirs works is for all TS and TSX files, they extend from a couple good presets and then also include their ... TypeScript rules, which are these ones. Oh, I should also note, would come from, but we don't want to put too many stylistic, but we don't want to overload users with stylistic request demands. Demands, that's a nice word. All right, so let me just do yarn lint. Can that work? Recommended TypeScript ESLint recommended type checked. Oh, am I on the right? TypeScript ESLint plugin 559. What? Am I gonna have to upgrade this? I guess I will. So just looking in JSON files. Okay, so it's just this one. Let's move to 620, I think it was. yarn clear yarn lint. Oh, did I post this? Pull discussions. Continuing, switching context again to remix. Oh, right, I missed that I posted on the dedent thing, and I needed to post that. So while this is interesting discussion. Oh, and I totally also forgot to post that I filed the issue on the polyfill. No, the proposal. Issues. Oh my god, and I forgot to put the entire link, so I just said number 76. Wrong repo. Okay. So while stuff is running... Oh, it already ran. All right. Switching. Also commenting on an interesting point of movement for the library now that there's a TC39 proposal for built indentation. Is GRAF on the Twitters or anything? Gareth. I had a manager once named Gareth. Nice bloke. Nope. Dedents. Boop, boop, boop. And as a part of side note, part of that little issue for docs on the TC39 proposal. Oop, hit paste by accident. Okay. Now, okay. So what I'm actually doing is, again, context switching for the last time, continuing this pull, and by working on adding TypeScript ESLint's recommended type checked to remix. And I'll post the PR draft once I have it. Okay, so what's getting complained about now? Oh wait, Venable, you have used a rule which requires parser service. Oh, right, because parser options needs something like project true to indicate use the tsconfig. And project true is this nice thing that we added in TypeScript ESLint a few versions ago that says use the closest tsconfig for each file. You need a tsconfig or TypeScript configuration file when using type checked lint rules because the type checker needs to know how to run TypeScript, like what compiler options, what included or excluded files are you running with. And those are all based on tsconfig files on disk. Word. Oh boy. So that's 2,000 errors. I love it. I'm also noting that it took a while, so I'm going to time yarn lint to see how long it takes. All right, look at this. Look at all these errors. First up, toggle word wrap. Oh boy. This is a fun one. You can run ESLint on little snippets in your markdown files. So if you look at, let's say this .md file, whatever, from loader, and then backtick tsx, ESLint was running on these files, but these files can't be linted using our current set of stable options in TypeScript ESLint with type checking. You can't lint it with type checking because no tsconfig includes this rando file. So we do have some experimental stuff in the works that'll let it happen, but in the meantime, you're gonna just have to exclude MD files. And in fact, I actually think I had to do this in my template TypeScript node package. So that's fun. .md. Yeah, so excluded file. Love it. All right. So I'm actually gonna make a new set of things here. Yeah. So instead of saying that all TypeScript and TS and TSX files get the new thing, now I'm saying add in recommended type checked only for TSX files that are not .md or mdx. And apparently it's question mark parentheses x. See how that goes. So let's time yarn lint again. See what happens. Just getting out of the way all these. Oh geez, so many of them. Look at this. All right, that's so many. Is that? Oh, tell the Astro folks we all said hi. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. All right, getting rid of all these things. Here we go. Now we get the unsafe things. All right, so the first set of rules are these no unsafe ones, and it's in the integration tests. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just finding things off screen. Okay. I actually have a filed issue on me to write a blog post about these unsafe whatever ones. Blog. Yeah, so this I'll eventually do, explaining like no unsafe arguments. If y'all are curious about the full list of rules in this family. Eventually I'll write this blog post. Right now I've got a different one in review. But these are all in the integration tests side. And generally speaking, many projects prefer not to have as strict set of rules on integration. So let me see if there's an ESLint file already in integration. There isn't, so I'm going to add one. Let's go to packages. No, go to remix, integration.eslint-rc.js. Yep, and let's just extend from the top. Are integration tests like acceptance tests? Great question. Yeah, generally there are 3 levels of testing in most ways that people describe it. They're from the bottom to the top, unit, integration, end-to-end. Integration and end-to-end tend to get kind of blurred together. Some people use the terms interchangeably. I don't know what exactly Remix is using for their terminology, but yeah, these are like put a lot of things together tests, not individually test specific things. Actually, I'm realizing I can, instead of making a nested ESLint file, I can just modify the top level one to also exclude tests and let's see. Where's it? Type check. Recommended. Did I? What? Where did? Oh. Config. Okay, so I guess I could exclude type check files from the no unsafe ones, or I could. You know, I will do the thing that I started to do and then stopped. I will write a new eslint-config here. .eslint-rc.js. Extend from the top level one, and then let's add in some overrides. So the overrides are how you can tell ESLint. I know you have a default set of rules, let's say this one, but for each of these specific groups of files, shut up about it. I'm not doing it. All right, so for all, where is it? .ts. Where's the remix config for all? There we go. TSX files. Turn off these rules. Daniel, thanks for the sub. I really appreciate it. Let me know how I can make this useful to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take anything that's like TypeScript, ESLint, no, unsafe. I'm going to multi-select all of them, copy and paste into a file, sort lines ascending, and then delete duplicates. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, so snazzy. Love VS Code. And then multi-select, Command L on Mac, Control L on Windows, and turn them off. So now when we run linting, which previously was taking over a minute, we'll see how much faster this is. And also I'm going to delete all these ones. And then, oh boy. Look at that, 12 seconds, so much faster. Yeah, those rules, kind of chunkers. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, yep, the parsing error. Oh, that's still happening. That's not good. Using projects. So, how am I going to fix this? Excluded files, MD. Oh, it's also on the TS. It's saying on .md / whatever auto-generated name .tsx is right there. I think I will get something out of it. Yeah, it makes my channel look better, and I think I get a little bit of money. So thank you, I appreciate it. I personally am not a huge Twitch person, despite trying to regularly go on it. So I can never keep track of all these things. They change it once in a while. But yeah, thank you, appreciate it. All right, so now I'm just looking at the remaining complaints, and there's a lot of TypeScript ESLint unbound method in here. This is a pretty common rule that I see violated in the wild. Let's take a look. Where is it? Oh, it's complaining now. That's annoying. All right, render to pipeable stream. Here we go. This is a React DOM type pipeable stream. This React DOM pipeable stream interface is saying that the returned object from whatever creates a pipeable stream has two methods at least. Abort, which returns void, and pipe, which is some generic thing, whatever, blah, 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 takes in a destination, returns whatever writable is. Now, this type of signature declaration is typically used for objects that bind this, as in the JavaScript keyword this, such that you would use them as like const value equals pipeable stream and then value dot abort, let's say. It implies that there is an important this that is generally bound to the object. So if you were to just call it separately like pipe, then that might not work because maybe pipe uses this, or like abort maybe would use this. So you typically, for these, switch it to this type of declaration. One that says it is a property, and that property just so happens to equal, or to be of type, some object. And I'm just, in case that didn't make any sense, because I know this is like kind of nitpicky and weird. Let's Google for, Google, and it's not updating the links and not giving us a way to explain that these links are updated. Here we go. So yeah, so there's some types in React DOM that are making this hard, which means what I should do, or someone should do, is file an issue on wherever these types are declared. In this case, it's the community authored types for the React DOM library, saying, hey, it doesn't look like you actually need these to be, bound methods. They can be unbound. But in the meantime, because there are 50 bajillion complaints, we will just turn this off in the ESLint complaint, in the ESLint config. And we can do that. Where do we do that? ESLint index? Remix ESLint config? I swear there was somewhere I disabled a whole bunch of rules. Was it TypeScript.js? Aha, yes. Off. No, LMN. I always go by alphabetical. So LMN, OP, QRST. Great. Yarn, time, yarn, list. I thought it only took 10 seconds. How long has this been? This feels like it's taking more than 10 seconds. Maybe it's a cache thing. I can never figure out ESLint caching behavior. Yes, love sort lines ascending. Ugh, so good. Huh. I guess it'll take the full minute. Oh, well. No. Still so many complaints on parser Ugh. All right. So here we have a .md and a t. I thought I got rid of that. .md TypeScript.js.md. So it's remix tslint-to-eslint-config.md. All right. Well, that's annoying. Oh my god, I never specified turning off any rules. Ugh. Oh wait. No, hang on. Yeah, I said only turn on recommended type checked in TS and TSX files, excluding .md or mdx. Why is it .md? Yeah, if you look at the complaint here, it's this file, which is an md file, .md, but inside of it there are some code snippets that are getting linted, and you can't use type checking right now in TypeScript ESLint stable options on these little code snippets. So I'm trying to turn on type checking for TS files and TSX files, except .md and its related things. Let's look at my template. What does my template do? .md. So my template only accounts for md. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get real manual. See if I'm like messing up the glob expansions or something. So TS and TSX for md and mdx. See if that works. What? And then unbound method is again complaining. All right. I'm gonna... Did I turn this off somewhere? I'm just gonna turn this off for everyone. I know I did turn it off for everyone. What? Oh. Maybe I have to use the same TypeScript rules thing here. Then there's a new version of ESLint config files that the ESLint team is working on. It's not yet super stable, but it'll eventually be. Actually, I think they said it's stable, but it's not in recommended use for everyone yet. I think it will be the default in the next major version of ESLint. I know they're moving quickly, or at least as quickly as open source can on it, so I'm not sure where it is. And in that new version, they're simplified a good bit, which will make this type of thing easier. It's called flat configs. ESLint flat config. I mean, we try hard to work well with the ESLint team. However, we are like, I think it's 70% or so, last count, of the users, and we don't know how to migrate ourselves to flat config. Like in theory, we can kind of infer stuff from the existing code and docs, but in actuality, there's no explicit documentation for plugins to migrate over, which is really annoying. Like really, it's incredibly inconvenient. We have a draft PR, but we haven't gotten confirmation from the ESLint team on whether we're doing it right, and we're not going to merge, I don't think, until they actually tell us whether what we're doing is correct. So if you look at, I think they have like a pinned issue maybe or something tracking flat config. Flat config. Here we go, implement flat config. Here we go. So they're on phase 3 now, which is working with tooling. Slight ego boost that we're the first on the list. I'm sure that didn't actually matter anywhere, and it's just a coincidence. But I'll let it get to my head. So yeah, Nicholas Akis, the head core ESLint person, sent us a PR, and it's not been updated in a little bit. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, how did I learn to understand all the configs? I always find them so overwhelming. Yeah, it took a while. I think again that oh yeah, there are a few interesting configs here. Yeah, this is a good list to go off of if you're curious about them. Also, before I actually, sorry, Emma, answer, there's this awesome ESLint repo that I really love that has a lot of awesome ESLint configs, plugins, etc. I just directly read from this once every, I don't know, year or two just to see what's new. I also, in my personal, put everything I could ever want in here, template type of node package. I have a bunch of configs, all of which I think are mentioned on this one, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of read a lot on the ESLint configs in terms of the docs and in terms of repos, like seeing what a lot of people do. There aren't actually all that many things in the ESLint configs. They're just, they don't come up enough in your day-to-day development that you get used to them the way you would like the array methods in JavaScript or whatnot. But basically the way a config works is you specify a bunch of options. The parser and then parser options for that tell ESLint what package to use to read in your JavaScript or other files and turn it into a format that its rules can understand. You don't need to specify these if you're just writing JavaScript, but if you're writing something like TypeScript, which is not just JavaScript, it's also added stuff that ESLint doesn't know about, you would need to use like the TypeScript ESLint parser, for example. I don't know why they're using the Babel parser. I think I would infer that it's because they use non-standard JavaScript stuff and they want to use Babel to figure it out, but I don't know. So yeah, parser options is a bunch of stuff. Each parser can be told how to do things. env is not super important. I think it's either deprioritized or going away. I forget in the new configs, but it's telling like the core built-in ESLint parser how your code is being run. Like, can you assume that browser globals exist or that you're running an ES6? So that's like the core basic way to configure your ESLint stuff. You can then also add in plugins. Each plugin exposes a bunch of rules that you can then later on turn on or off or configure in your rules. The remix, because they have a big config, they just split out a bunch of objects. But like here, they're saying rules is like TypeScript ESLint ban TS comment. And then you can say like error off or warning, let's say. So that's like the core way you can specify the rules after setting like how you're parsing and where your code is being run. Some rules have shared settings, like the React plugins ask to be able to be told like what are your link components and what version of React should be auto-detected. I don't work on any repos that actually use this. Or I don't write any rules that use this. I just consume them in some of my repos. Sorry, I'm trying to switch back and forth between VS Code and then also the Stream Manager. Yeah, if Babel is for legacy stuff, then yeah, maybe they'll be working eventually. However, people eventually realized that they needed different rules enabled for different files. So ESLint added, or maybe always had, I don't know, this concept of overrides, which is a bunch of objects where you can say for a specific set of files, added a whole bunch of other rules. And then you can also exclude some files from these overrides. Extends like plugins and configs will make available certain presets. Like TypeScript ESLint recommended is a preset that just enables a whole bunch of rules with certain options and turns off a bunch of others. So it extends like interfaces in the sense that it's taking in a bunch of info from one place and shoving it onto yours. And you can also do extends in the root, by the way. They just happen to only be doing it in overrides. Anyway, I realized that you said, there's a lot of information here. It's hard to keep track of. And I just gave you a whole spew of information. I apologize if I'm just spewing stuff. If none of that made sense, it's okay. But yeah, such is life. Most people, for a while, myself included, just copy and pasted their ESLint configs back and forth between different repos. But yeah, what I'm trying to figure out now is why these rules are getting enabled, even though I don't want them to be. I'm glad it was helpful, yay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off all these unsafe rules in here for now to do WAT, because I don't want them to be enabled. And I'm gonna take another look at these excluded files things. ESLint was configured to run on .ts. So .md, so yes, it is **/startmd/ star.ts. Recommended type checked. I'm so confused why this is getting included. Let's run again. See what happens. With these rules turned off, it should, I hope, go down to 10 seconds and not be the 60-second lint run again. That would be really nice. Not feeling optimistic. Yay. All right. And it seems to be taking forever. Love it. Okay, well, 60 seconds, yep, but only 719, that's nice. Why is it running on these MD files? I'm so confused. What if I just remove MD and MDX altogether? Will that fix it? Files, extends type checked. Very confusing. This is the only place that type checked is referenced, right? Whatever. Anyway, moving on. I'm just gonna ignore this for now. Maybe I fixed it with the latest thing and just copy and paste a bunch of errors into a new file. So the actual count of errors that I have is, oh, nope, it's still a whole bunch of these. Parsing errors. All right. How many files do I actually have? There are 120 selections. Oh, Voxpelli, you made a tool for this. Compare ESLint configs. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for hanging out, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. No, that's really nice. Thanks. Let's do that. Example file. Does your tool work on? Oh, interesting. I'm seeing a whole bunch of .ts files that are also getting complained about. I wonder if it's like a relativity thing. Well, yeah, anyway, I'll just work on these actual complaints for now, and then we'll see. We'll see. All right, line 9. Let's see. Our function search files has no await expression. So yeah, this is a great rule to flag. Require awaits. That's awesome though, Vox. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so yeah, require awaits. It's saying that you have an async function, in this case an arrow function, but there's no await in it. So there's no actual need for this to be async. So I'm just gonna remove. And I'm just out of curiosity, let's find all references. So these are awaiting even though they don't need to be. Both of these were async, but they don't need to be. So now if we switch this to, voila, look at that, awesome. Boom, fix. And now we have other places where there's await page.locator, but page.locator returns an object. So there's no need for this await, which is a separate rule, await venable. And actually, I'm betting if I find and replace all await page.locator, we fix. Look at that, nice. And wondering if this is going to be the same thing. Yep, so if I just do a find and replace on await page.locator to just page.locator everywhere with with a space in front. Fix that up, very nice. Another one with the async doesn't need to be. Good. Here we have my old favorite. Line 35, no floating promises. Promises must be awaited and with a call to catch, and with a call to that with a rejection handler, or be explicitly marked as ignored with a void operator. Oh boy. In other words, you are creating a promise here with route.continue, but you are not doing anything with it. You are just, it's letting it float off. Now, there are typically two ways most people handle with this. How did I move to lines? Oh, love it. So what I did was I copy and pasted the name of the file, pressed Command P for Mac, it would be Control P on Windows, pasted it. And then I pressed Control G to go to this little type in a line number, and I typed in 35. If I were to type in, let's say 792, it would go to 792. So 35 and enter. Alternately, if you paste in a file name and then colon 35, I think it should do that. Colon 123. Yep. Colon, then line, and then optionally also colon, then colon. Yeah, a lot of similarity between how Vim lets you move around really quickly in VS Code. That's why I've never actually moved to Vim myself. I've just been using VS Code, same benefits. Great questions, though. Thanks for asking. All right, so route.continue. This is a floating promise. Typically, there are two ways one would resolve these, two most common ways out of a few. One would either await it, or one would mark it as, it's fine with void. Now, I hate void being used in this way. It really annoys me that you're just saying, it's fine, don't worry about it. Void is a JavaScript operator of ignore whatever's to the right of this, just give me undefined. Should this be awaited? So I always end up in PRs putting a to do, should we await this, when I see this type of fix being needed. And I see that it's the same in two more places. 895 and 792. So I generally try not to change runtime behavior in my static analysis PRs, like fixing ESLint complaints. But you never know. Oh, this is fun. We have another place with a couple of unnecessary asyncs. 420. Yeah, people don't generally use void in real code in that way. It's mostly used actually by minifiers, funny enough. Oh boy. Await search files doesn't need to be awaited. Await find code files doesn't need to be awaited. These don't need to be async anymore. Love these viral little code simplification changes. All right, 996. This doesn't need to be async. Very good. And a little deeper. In theory, one could autofix these. In practice, sometimes async stuff does kind of matter. So one wouldn't. Oh, here's interesting. What a well-timed example. This expect creates a new promise, but it's not awaited. Dot rejects actually creates a new promise for the response and creates a promisable API because this function returns fixture.request data. So we are not actually either it's not asserting, or I think the problem was that the assertion might run outside of the parent test because it's an asynchronous promise. It was missing an awaits. So that's why you never know. Sometimes the fix isn't what you immediately expect. Sometimes you await, sometimes you void. 130, 131, here we go. So it looks like it was just missing an await. How many, oh boy. Well, it's configured to run on, let me just remove those. Because there's so many complaints here, what I'd probably end up doing is sending a preliminary PR that just fixes up the rule complaints. And then later on, I would send a PR that fixes up the the configs to run the rules, because this is a lot of code changes, and I try to make my PRs safe and small, easy to review. All right, so what's this complaining about? Imported multiple times. That's one of their rules. I didn't even add this one. Import no duplicates. Create fixture project. Funny. 158. I'm going to zoom out. I'm finding it hard to read. Oh boy, so this async function test.describe promise return and function argument where a void return was expected. Interesting. So test.describe actually, yeah, let me paste that rule into the chat. Yeah. So test.describe doesn't actually allow you to return promise from your callback. It's supposed to be synchronous. It takes in a promise that returns void, meaning just ignore the results. And yeah, that's fun. Unnecessary async there. And then another unnecessary async here. Love it. And one more complaint. Oop. Unnecessary async. All right. So I've got, how many more files to go? 46 files to go. Not terrible. So what I'll do is, I have a meeting in 20 minutes with someone I'm really excited about. So I'm going to try to get through all these before that meeting. So within the next 15 minutes or so. And then I will sign off. So if y'all have any questions or things you wanted to chat about, let me know before then. Form test, line 53. To do, should this be awaited? Same little blurb as before. Create fixture, 51. Doesn't need to be async, I think. Yep. Doesn't need to be async. Doesn't need to be async. Doesn't need to be async. Oh, wait, no, it does. Oh. Promise returned and function argument where void return was expected, but it is actually... This is actually a function that should be allowed to return. Oh, that's super interesting. This might be a bug in the rule, or just a flaw in the promise types. Should be a promise resolved. Sorry, I don't follow. Because this function is in fact async. It does need to be async. And they call it accept. I would typically call this... Why is my keyboard not allowing me to rename? Oh, well. I would typically call this the resolver, or resolve. Interesting. Get port returns a prompt. I don't know what to do here. Let's look at the rule in the playground. Try to get an isolated repro. And even before I do that, actually, I'm going to look up issues. Ben, thanks for joining. I might have just found a bug in either TypeScript ESLint rule or the types for promise in TypeScript, so that's fun. What I'm seeing here is I'm enabling a bunch more rules on Remix, and trying to enable, among others, the no misuse promise rule, but I'm seeing that it's flagging that an async function is provided to promise. But promise, I thought, allows an async function. It doesn't matter what the function returns. And in fact, oh yeah, it should take in, oh yeah, the executor, the resolver thingy. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if this is, what's the rule called again? This is a bug or what? How are you doing though? No use promise in title. All right, so I'm also going to look up promise. Hopefully that'll be case sensitive. Nope. A lot of resolved things. Saying it isn't checked in this one case. That's the opposite problem from what I have. Warner and spreading a promise, blah, 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 blah. A lot of docs complaints. Nothing here looks... Oh yeah, several directions of work. That's fun. New promise does not allow async callbacks. Is that like a documented thing? Let's look. I'm gonna just pull this into the playground. Resolve function get after second. Await or so. Yeah. Return await new promise. Resolve set timeout. Resolve value. Let's take that in as a parameter. 1000. I'm getting confused, so let me. You can tell it's near the end of the stream because I'm less able to think. Value. And the resolve needs to be. Just, you know what? Resolve. Set timeout. Resolve 1000. And let's just return the value after. So await and then return. All right. So const value equals await get after second. Hello. Console.log value resolve with value. So I would have thought this would be allowed. Because let's look at the promise type, which is kind of difficult in the playground, so I'll just snap back to it here. The promise type, let's see, is this promise constructor interface, which takes in new promise, which is a T, which is an executor, so let's split these out. And then reject. I don't really care about reject. So yeah, the promise constructor says that the executor, which is the thing that runs that you pass in, takes in a resolve, which we don't really care about. So we can just ignore this, but it returns void. Wait, why is this giving me squigglies? It's gonna complain, isn't it? Oh wait, hang on. The executor, oh yeah, the executor takes in resolve, which, oh wait, I'm messing things up, aren't I? The executor is what takes in these two things. My parentheses are all messed up. Alright, yeah, so the executor, which takes in some stuff we don't really care about right now, returns void. So yeah, the resolve value can be async or not, but the thing that's provided to the promise, you're saying, thank you by the way, Box, I really appreciate that. Let's see, foo equals new promise, and it's an uncaught. Ah, so you're right. Interesting. Interesting. So what if we do throw new error? So if math.random, so basically ours, actually always, gotcha. So if we do this, get after seconds, await new promise, console log, hello, after the promise. So if we await this, oh, and I'm just going to unknown value, doesn't matter. Who cares about the implicit any? Uncaught and promise error, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, man. Is this man, pardon me. I don't know, y'all. Is this an issue? I'm gonna file an issue. Just in case. If not, worst case scenario, maybe it should just be documented. I don't know. Bug and rule. So actually, let me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a simplified version of this. I can simplify this further. Wait a second. Await new promise. Time resolve. Awaits a second. resolve hello. There you go. Even simpler code repro. A second. And in our fancy schmancy playground, we have report as issue. Look at that. Flags and async executor passed to promise. I'm on the latest and everything. Yep. I'm under the impression it's reasonable to pass an async function to a promise. So this shouldn't flag. This is report a complaint, right? Actual results. Plain text. Looking at the global type. What type is this? At lib, whatever. Lib, ES23, promise DTS. Promise constructors new is typed as the executor returning void. Not void or promise like. Yes. Perhaps this is an issue in the TypeScript types. All right, so that's one of the benefits of filing an issue, even if you're not sure whether you're right about it. Ooh, this is a fun one. Ooh, yeah, foo1.catch. Ah, too late. I like this repro, but yeah, yours is good too. One of the benefits of filing an issue is that you have something to link to if you want to disable on the line. So that's nice. Now I don't have to get blocked on this file. Yay! And I can move on to 63. Aha. Another to-do should this be awaited. Let request done. Oh boy. This looks like something that should just be voided, so I'll void that one. Got a couple of floating promises here. That's just a blatant missing awaits. 329. Await. Wait, is this? Are these even asynchronous? Expect takes in a locator, returns make matchers to CSS. Oh yeah, it's a promise. What framework is this? Playwright? Oh, okay. HMR test 319. Another await expect. Smells of copy pasta to me when I see the exact same issue. Cool. I'm running out of time here. Really hoping I can finish this up in time. Oh boy. Unexpected weight of a non-promise, non-editable. Oh, this I must have finally replaced away. Haha. So close. Nates. Doesn't need to be async. This one also doesn't need to be async. Very nice. Very nice. Oh boy, a whole bunch of them. Did I find it? Yeah, these were finally replaced earlier. Nice. 169. Aha. Oh, this is a new one. We haven't seen this yet. Restrict template expressions. That's a rule that we put in so that folks stop putting things like an object in template expressions. But it's pretty common for folks to put in an error when it's been caught. So, yeah. What's this complaining about? Let log equals. Oh, this was an unbound method complaint. I thought I disabled that. So must be a caching thing. I don't know. 115 as string. This, aha. This is one of my favorite rules. It just helps people write more succinct TypeScript. No unnecessary type assertion. It just says you don't need to do that. It's already that type. Nice. Async function doesn't have an await. Oh boy. These are a bunch of unsafe ones. Let me restart my ESLint server because I think it's giving me out-of-date things. Line 700. Oh, you forgot to await this. Normally, if I see a write file or something, it feels like it should be awaited. And this is a function, update package JSON. So yeah, if that fails, you do want an error thrown. Just an intuition, just a hunch. Who's complaining up here? Oh wait, step of steps. None of these are asynchronous, so that's cool. Oh wait, hang on. Step returns void. Ah. But one of them is in fact. So step equals context, void or promise void. There we go. It's a quirk of the TypeScript type system that if you have an array of functions and some of them return void, the array is typed as returning void because void is ignored. It's the superset of everything. In that sense, it's what one would call a top type. Oh, thanks, Vox. Appreciate the comment. I'm just gonna blaze through these. Let's see. 150 loop. Oh boy, loop is async. Oh boy. Should we await the loop loading indicator? I'm gonna say let's not. This, just looking at the file loading indicator, this is like kind of quirky logic. It's messing around with things, so I'm just gonna allow it to be floating. I'm gonna put a comment on it. 150 dev server live reload. Whenever it involves like dev servers, these kind of nitpicky things, I always just avoid it when I'm working with people because that's complex stuff I don't want to mess with. Line 54. Aha, let error unknown or undefined. Fun fact, this is a rule we haven't talked about yet. No redundant type constituents. Unknown overrides the rest of the stuff in the type constituent, so error is just unknown. So you don't need the or undefined. Similar, or moving on, cancel. That's, I don't know what that's. Oh yeah, cancel, that's the type of thing where it's okay to float typically. You don't want to throw an error from trying to cancel something, oftentimes. All right, build.unload, that doesn't need to be asynchronous. Remove. File watch cache, 114. Dot catch, all right, what happens if this promise complains? To do, should errors be handled here? So that's fun. What's this complaining about? Oh, just line 11. Step is async, but doesn't need to be. I'm running out of time, and there are quite a few complaints here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send this as a draft PR to my fork, not against the upstream, the main repo. This doesn't need to be async. And I'm gonna, at a future point in time, split it up and send one PR per area or per rule. Not sure yet which one I'm going to do. It's nice to see that most of the fixes are pretty straightforward. So yeah, I might like send a PR. You know what? Maybe I just did a lot of unnecessary work just to prep myself. Maybe I'll just enable one of these rules at a time. Yeah, so this is fine for now. Git checkout the TypeScript ESLint recommended type checked prep at all work in progress POC point of comparison type checked rules git push u origin TypeScript ESLint. Sometimes this happens where I get through a large amount of work, like an hour or something, and I'm like, I don't really feel like I needed that. Such is life. And I'm not going to send it against the base. I'm going to send it against mine, against the dev branch. Oops. Work in progress. Oh, this is fun. So my PR, or my fork, git pull upstream dev, git push u origin dev. There is no dev branch on my fork, so I just made it now. Work in progress. All right. So yeah, this is something that I'll like clean up and do later. But yeah, this was fun. Thanks y'all for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna close. Ooh. Oh, so yeah, maybe Vox, I'm just wrong. Love it. Love to see it. Ended up being a lot of changes. We'll have to split this up later. Point POC for now. Thank you, Emma. I really appreciate it. Hope you and everyone else has a great day. Any last questions? I think y'all are out of time. Questions, comments, topics. Let's find someone to raid. Just click the raid button in the stream manager and got quite a few here. Oh, I love so many of these people. Let's go to Rizel. And I have to go, but y'all tell her I said hi. So just to conclude, goodbye, everyone. I'm Josh Goldberg. I'm a full-time open source maintainer. This is some of the stuff I do on a day-to-day basis. Hope you all had a good time, and let me know if there's anything else you want to chat about. Bye.